Sorry guys, can we clear out the space?
Hey, what up? How are you? Undercolors.
Yes, I know. Blending in.
Hey everyone, how you going? We've got Shane Watson here as part of the ICC Champions Trophy Tour. It was in Melbourne last week. It's now up here in Sydney. Tournament being played from February 19 to March 9. Here to answer all your questions, obviously regarding other cricketing matters as well that's taking place at the moment. So just one question at a time, just maybe raise a good hand.
Shane, after many decades, after a couple of decades, the tournament is moving to Pakistan. How big will it be for the Pakistani cricket who have been debarred of watching some quality international cricket in the last decade or so? For them, for the fans, how important will it be?
Oh, it's going to be huge for the Pakistan cricket fans to be able to have an opportunity for world-class cricket to be able to be in the country. It's certainly, I was very fortunate to be able to experience it in a slightly smaller scale playing the Pakistan Super League in Pakistan, and that was my first experience going back to Pakistan. That was in 2019 after my previous experience in 2005, and that was really to be honest, that's one of the highlights of my career. One of the best weeks that I had was going to Pakistan for the first time for a long time and seeing just how much love and joy they have for the game of cricket. And obviously they've been starved of world-class live cricket. So for now, an ICC event to be able to be in Pakistan is just, the country is just going to light up. It's going to be so beautiful for the Pakistan people to be exposed to live the best cricketers in the world playing in front of their own eyes. So, yeah, it's really going to be a special tournament for sure.
Just a quick follow-up on that. Is it a shame that India is not playing in Pakistan? What's your take on that?
That's a nice little hospital pass you give me there. Look, in the end, it's unfortunate that things have worked out that way for sure. But there's no doubt that what everyone loves seeing, watching, is the India-Pakistan games. Whenever they come together, whether it's an ICC event, it is a really special time because we've gotten a sense of what's on the line. We know from an Australian cricket's perspective how it is playing against our arch rivals, England. So to know how big a rivalry it is between India and Pakistan is always something special that no cricket fan wants to miss that game. So it is unfortunate that India aren't travelling to Pakistan for this Champions Trophy, but unfortunately that's just the way it is right now.
Shane, over here. I just wanted to know that bilateral ODIs are becoming a thing of the past right now with so much of franchisee cricket. We don't see too much of ODI cricket, and there is a marquee tournament that's the World Cup. So where does Champions Trophy find its place happening after 8 years? And do you see the relevance of Champions Trophy remaining as it was during the time when you played in Australia won the championship?
Yeah, for me, the Champions Trophy is a critically important tournament in world cricket because the One-Day World Cup is only every 4 years, and the Champions Trophy was great because it broke up those 4 years. So you were playing an ICC event, and the Champions Trophy was a special tournament from a playing perspective because there was always something riding on every single game. And when you're playing bilateral series throughout the year, you can get a bit stale, whether that's from a playing perspective, but for the fans as well. But when you play an ICC event and a Champions Trophy where there's only 8 teams, there is something riding on every ball. And as a team, you have to hit the ground sprinting. Otherwise, you'll be out like it was for the Australian team in 2013. So it's an awesome tournament. Look, I've got incredible memories from my first Champions Trophy in 2002 in Sri Lanka, and then 2006 and 2009, which we won. So look, I've got incredible memories as a team, but also individually as well. With for me, that was the time where I was able to put in some performances that solidified in my own mind that I had the tools to be able to perform for Australia against the very best.
Shane, to follow up that question, how do you see the future of ODI cricket? Now you just as asked that now bilateral ODIs are not happening. People are more accustomed to T20 cricket. So, do you see any changes in the format? Maybe some that like the Sachin Tendulkar suggested 25 over. Any changes do you see, or how do you make ODIs more interesting?
Look, ODIs are very interesting when there's something riding on every single game, and that's where the Champions Trophy provides that. That's from a playing perspective. The players love playing in those games, in those tournaments, but also the fans love watching those because they are fully engaged in every moment of every game. Because if the team gets it slightly wrong, then you're out of the tournament. Whereas the bilateral series, yeah, there's not as much context in general across the board, and that's why the more tournaments there are, like an ICC event like the Champions Trophy or the World Cups, that's when the fans really are fully engaged and the players are really putting it all on the line as well. There's no sort of cruise control at all in a Champions Trophy or an ICC event. So yeah, for me, that's the way that you provide. You keep giving one-day cricket the energy that it needs. Because it is a great game. It's a great format. It provides that balance between Test cricket and T20 cricket. We never want to lose the format of one-day cricket, but there needs to be context as often as possible, and that's where the Champions Trophy certainly provides that.
Rohit?
Just want to ask that, how do you see, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, specifically the way they both played their last 50-over tournament in India, 2023 World Cup, and after that, the kind of discussions, the kind of, at this point of time, what they are, going through here in Australia, do you think that what happened here is not going to influence, this specific tournament as far as their mindset and the form is concerned, and specifically Rohit Sharma, the captain?
Yeah, I don't think it'll play really a part at all with Rohit Sharma and Virat's impact in one-day cricket. It's going to be different conditions where they're playing in Dubai. It also, one-day cricket does really free them both up as well. Virat Kohli is an absolute master of one-day cricket. Yes, he's a master of all formats, but especially one-day cricket. You see his extraordinary numbers over a long period of time, averaging around 57, a strike rate of 93 over a long period of time. It's crazy to think the control that he has over his innings, and we'll see that again in the Champions Trophy. Rohit Sharma, like we saw in the One Day World Cup, when he was at his very best, he was taking on the game, and it's more difficult to be able to do that in Test cricket. Well, I suppose unless you're Sam Konstas, then you sort of do that. But outside of that, it's more difficult to be able to do that. And Rohit Sharma hasn't been able to find that balance here in Australia. But when he goes and opens the batting in one-day cricket, he lets loose. And when he lets loose, that's when we see the very best of Rohit Sharma. So I'd be very surprised if he doesn't perform really well in the Champions Trophy, knowing that he probably doesn't have a lot of time left, whatever that is, but a lot of time left in international cricket. So I'm sure he'll let the handbrake off.
No, just one question, sorry. Yeah. Got to get around to a few people. So, yeah.
Shane, quite a spectacular debut at the NCT. Sam Konstas, he said one of the few people he expects to receive a message from, and your name was top on that list. What was that message, if at all you sent one? How taken away were you when he attempted that ram shot of Umrah, and the way he handled the Virat Kohli shoulder bump?
Yeah. Look, he's a special young man, and I've been very fortunate to have been spending a lot of time with him over the last 4 years as he navigates his journey through, to the top of where he is right now. He's certainly someone who's desperate to be as good as he possibly can be. He'll leave no stone unturned, and that's the reason why I've really enjoyed spending time with him and helping him along his journey. Look, there's no doubt that I understood what his game plan was. Well, plan A was anyway. So when plan B sort of kicked in quite quickly within a couple of overs, that was a little surprising. But the one thing that we've always talked about is trusting his gut. I've done majority of the work that I've done with Sam Konstas has been around the mental side of him as a performer. And one of the things that we really talk about is trusting your gut feel, trusting intuition of what's required right now. And obviously after those first couple of overs with Bumrah sort of weaving his magic, he felt that if I was just going to bat normally like I am, then it's a matter of time before he gets me out. So he obviously just went with what he felt and fully committed to it. And that takes a lot of courage. And that's when cricketers are at their very best as well. They weigh up all the situations, they trust what they feel and then fully commit to it. And Sam certainly did. Look, it's going to be a different challenge for it now because he's shown what his plan B is. And we already saw in that second innings, the field position certainly changed. So it's going to be a good test of his evolution to be able to continue to work through how he can take the game on against the best batters and the best bowlers in the world. But he's certainly got all the all the gears and all the skills to be able to make those adjustments quickly.
Bima?
Still no one knows whether the workload of all-rounder in modern cricket. In that context, you saw the Nitish Reddy making such a huge impact in this test series. What do you take on that? And do you think now he's ready for ODI? You may see him in Champions Trophy as well.
Oh, absolutely. I saw Nitish Kumar Reddy in the IPL, and some of the things he did just from a batting perspective was incredible for a young man. There's a couple of innings in particular where he played a number of extraordinary shots, and straight away that stood out for someone at a young age to be able to have that skill development. Obviously, seeing him in this test series with the bat has been extraordinary. For a young man to be so equipped technically, he's obviously got all the shots, all the gears that he needs to, but also to have a game plan against the Australian bowlers who have been bowling incredibly well to be able to perform is something very special. Just from a batting perspective alone. Look, from a bowling perspective, I think he's only really scratching the surface from a bowling perspective. He's an incredible athlete. I think watching him bowl, he's still got probably at least another 5 kilometres, maybe even 10 kilometres sort of up his sleeve from a ball speed perspective as well. So it's exciting to be able to see a young all-rounder coming through, be able to do what he did in the IPL just from a batting perspective. Obviously, the impact player, which is sort of one of my, in the IPL, is one of the rules that I don't particularly like before the all-rounders, because someone like Nitish Kumar Reddy didn't get an opportunity to be able to really bowl much because of that impact player. But now we're seeing it in Test cricket, and he will fit beautifully into one-day cricket and T20 cricket for India as well because of the versatility that he provides. He's got all the gears from a batting perspective, and his bowling is only going to get better the more exposure that he gets.
Sam?
Shane, you spoke before about the way you expect to bat. What about the way you experience the line? There's always a
Yeah.
that much personality.
Look, my experience of dealing and working with Sam has been a very quiet, reserved personality, very a deep thinker, and certainly not an extrovert. But obviously what we saw in the test match is that he absolutely is a showman. And he certainly rose to the occasion, as in he wasn't overawed. You see, and I know through my experience of debuting, you really do sort of go inside. You're very, you just put a lot of pressure on yourself because it's your dream of being able to represent your country, wear the baggy green. But for Sam, it's superhuman in a way that he sort of just didn't have any of that at all. You could see it wasn't put on. That's just obviously who he is. And again, I hadn't seen that side of him. So to be able to see it, the way he engaged, even when he was batting in that first innings, how much he loved being the centre of attention, which the very best players, that's what they love. That's what they love, being able to be and stand up in those moments. Even the way he interacted with the crowd, it just shows that he's built for this. He's built for this stage where most people it takes a bit of time to warm up to sort of get into that, whereas he's obviously just thrives on that.
Shane, we're obviously seeing a new all-rounder for the Aussies here in Sydney with Webster making his debut. Obviously, another former Tassie all-rounder and yourself kind of as well. What have you made of those kind of form over the last 18 months, and what do you think we'll see in him in the test level?
Yeah, look, Bo's been slamming down that door. He's been knocking very hard with his performances over the last couple of years. He's been very consistent with bat. He's been very consistent with the ball as well, and his bowling's only getting better and better. So he's certainly done everything he needed to do to be able to be rewarded with a test debut here in Sydney. And it's unfortunate that Mitch Marsh just hasn't been able to contribute like he has done in the past. Obviously, from a bowling perspective, he hasn't been able to contribute like he has done in the past as well. So to be able to get some fresh legs in there, to be able to really help the bowling unit, the Aussie bowling unit, I think is going to help a lot. We've seen how extraordinary the Aussie bowlers have been with all of them, but the one that stands out to me the most has been Mitchell Starc. To be able to see him at the absolute peak of his powers and continuing to be able to put it on the line, keeping his bowling speeds up throughout the whole day, has been something very special to watch. So to be able to have that extra support, I think the fast bowlers in particular will be they'll be looking forward to it.
Were you surprised they made the change for this test?
Yes, I was surprised a bit. Just knowing the calibre of Mitch Marsh and what he can provide. He certainly looked a little bit off his best, just with his confidence out in the middle. And his bowling, apart from the first Test match, hasn't been as potent as they probably would like and as he has in the past. So, and especially after winning the last Test match, I'm a little bit surprised. But look, the selectors have nailed it so often for the last couple of years. So it's not for me to be able to question what they're doing, because so many times it's been a masterstroke with who they've brought in when. For me, bringing Sam in after 3 Test matches, I thought for McSweeney it was a bit harsh, only getting 3 Test matches, but what a masterstroke. Same with in the One Day World Cup, dropping Alex Carey after 1 game, bringing Josh Inglis in, again a masterstroke. So look, it's not for me to comment at all, because the selectors have absolutely nailed it, and I'm sure with all the information they've got, they'll get this one right as well.
Shane, I did wonder what you think then Sam's blueprint will be, because yesterday Alex Carey said it's probably not going to be what we saw in his first innings at Boxing Day Test. But I did just see him in the nets hitting it back over the bowler, practicing his ramp shots. What do you think his blueprint will be?
I think his blueprint will be a balance of all his shot options that he's got. It will certainly be putting the pressure on the bowler, as we saw the impact that it had for the rest of the batters as well in the batting group. It really just freed those more senior batters up to go, you know what, we have to just let go and not be worried about getting out. And Sam really sort of he was that personified with the way he batted. So now, knowing that India will have, and they showed that in the second innings with the field that they set straight up, he's going to have to tap into different aspects of his game. But he is technically very correct. He can certainly just stand there and bat normally and wait for loose balls, but he's also got the other gears to be able to hit the ball down the ground. But when they do have third man fine and fine leg fine, the ramp shot is probably out. But you know what? I thought the ramp shot wasn't going to come out in the first couple of overs, and it did. So Sam will just trust what he feels and go with it, and that's something very special that he taps into.
We go with Tom, then we go Rajal, and finish with Dan.
Shane, I know you're not Tasmanian, but you've spent a lot of time down there playing there. What will it mean for Tassie, and what are you expecting from Webster to do when he wins this opportunity?
Yeah, it's a big moment for Bo Webster and for Tassie cricket to know that they've produced another world-class player. And we've seen what he's been able to do, and he's been a consistent performer in every opportunity he's got over the last couple of years. So he's a tall guy. He's got options with the ball, but also he knows how to score runs. And the beauty of this as well is that picking someone who's been in really good form as well. He's been. You do hope at times, well, not at times, you do hope that when you get picked that you are in really good touch and that you haven't sort of come off the back of a few not so good performances and you're going into making debut a little bit knowing that you're a little bit off with your game. But Bo Webster's been flying high for quite a while, so it's a perfect opportunity to be able to get him in, and it just shows the tireless work that he's put into his game to be able to perform as consistently as he has. And now, with the calibre of players that he's got around him, what a time to be able to come into the Australian team.
I was going to say, just to line on Sam being the youngest Australian Test player at the SCG in over 100 odd years, the achievement of that in itself. Can you give us an insight into the week that is? Like, I'd imagine there's a cast of 1,020 tickets from him and a home test, and his family would be pretty excited for what this week will bring. Yeah,
this has certainly been an incredible week for Sam, for sure. It's been something that he only ever dreamed of. He was desperate to be able to get there, and in his own mind, he'd set the course of where he wanted to get to, and there's been different ways for him to be able to get there. But for a young man to be able to perform like he has and do the things that he's done when the opportunities has arisen, there's no secret for me the reason why he's been able to perform like he has at such a young age. He's been so diligent with his technical development, with his mental development. He's just been so diligent with implementing the right mental skills over the last 4 years in particular and troubleshooting those. And for me, that's the reason why there's no surprise that he's able to bring the best version of himself, like ball after ball, so consistently. And so to be able to perform like he has as a 19-year-old and be the youngest, there's been quite a few Test cricketers who've gone through playing at SCG over the years. So it's an incredible achievement. But it doesn't come about without the incredible hard work and disciplined work that he's done. He shut out all distractions around him for a long period of time with the single focus on I want to be the best cricketer I possibly can be. I'm going to source all the information that I possibly need, and then I'm just going to drill it in. So then hopefully I get as close as I can to my destination and quite quickly, and he's got there and then some.
So Raju, Shane, current format has 8 teams. Do you think the future format, the future edition of Champions Trophy should have 10 or 12 teams? And out of these 8, your top 4 or your top 5?
Oh, here we go. It's not going to stay. Oh, it's attached. Here, do you want me to hold that?
That's all right.
That's again. We're back. We're back. Do you want to repeat that question? No, I won't do that to you. So the Champions Trophy, look, the beauty of it is, yes, it's only 8 teams, but it does mean that every game there's something riding on it. Like for me, with the World Cup, it's a great thing that the smaller countries get an opportunity to be able to play in a World Cup, which is an amazing experience. But to be able to distill that down and just have 8 teams, whether it's 8 teams or 10 teams, but every team that you're playing against is incredibly good, and every team knows going into every game they have to be at their very, very best. And there's not, apart from like the stage in the World Cup when it moves into that, for it to start out, for a tournament to be able to start out so cutthroat from that very first game, I love it. I always have. I love playing it, and I know the players love playing it as well, and the viewers love watching it. Yes, it means that there's only 8 teams that play in it, and a number of world-class teams do miss out. But I do love the thought of it really being a high-end tournament where there is something riding on every ball.
Dan, last one. Sorry, one question. I think. Yeah, Dan, last one.
Hey Shane, I'm just wondering. There's been a bit of criticism, I guess, of some of the shots that India's players played at the back end of the Melbourne Test match, given the match situation. Cricket does seem to be getting more individualised, but the T20 franchise cricket. How do you balance that and that mindset with, I guess, the Test cricket mindset, where it's it's a team plan, or how do you weigh that up?
Yeah, look, things have evolved a lot in Test cricket. But a number of the shots that players do take on nowadays, it certainly wasn't in my shot vocabulary at all. Thinking about you could play a reverse sweep or a switch hit to fast bowling was just something that was, I never would have contemplated. I know if I probably did when Ricky Ponting was captain or Michael Clarke was captain, I wouldn't have been welcomed back into the dressing room. But now things have evolved a lot. Which is a great thing with the skill development. It's not like these players can play these shots incredibly well. So it does mean it's more high risk. It does mean that these shots are premeditated, which means that there's more chance of the bowler getting you out. But it's also the beauty of the confidence and skills that these guys have. So when players are premeditating with those shots, they are walking a fine line. There's no question. But it can be incredibly effective and has been for these batters. So they just have to continue to push that fine line and hope that they fall on the right side of that fine line more often than not. But when they fall on the other side, because it is high risk and it is premeditated, that's when coaches, teammates, but also the media will come down pretty hard because it doesn't look great at that moment in time. But that's also what makes these players so devastating when they get it right and they do keep falling on the right side of that fine line.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Shane.